June 11th, 1692. Into the wild. Our expedition has now begun a survey of the sunless forest, an endless wall of the tall, fungal-like trees, phosphorant mushrooms with drifting spores, and plants that we knew only from imprints in sedimentary rocks. How the plants survived seemed to be due to the ever-present glow in the air. Not phosphorants from the fungal life of spores, but more akin to the aurora borealis. The light has an intense presence and illuminates the world at all times, although it waxes and wanes in a daily cycle. This is possibly due to variations in magnetic forces relating to the position of the sun in the celestial sky and its rotation around the earth, as theorized by our occult scholars. Another theory they have proclaimed is that the light is emitted by a field of charged liquid, or particles they call the ethers. The scholars profess that the ethereal field exists more strongly here than on the surface, and that it somehow interacts with great forces beyond the gulfs of our earthly dimension, drawing forth enormous energies that are tapped and stored by the mysterious artifacts we are finding. These theories would have resulted in the scholars being burned alive as heretics by the high priest of their home kingdoms, but have shown to be closer to the truth than I would wish to admit. I still have great reservations about the presence of these sorcerers in a legitimate scientific investigation, but they have proven quite valuable as we discover more of this strange and unholy land. This evil forest is filled with wildlife, almost all new to science, and much of it deadly. We lost 2 of our researchers last week when they left camp by themselves to examine a stand of vegetation and were engulfed by a massive carnivorous plant. Just yesterday, a soldier wandered into a grove of beautiful purple flowers, only to succumb to some sort of poison that left him in a deep sleep. He would not even awaken while being carried off by a horrific giant covered in dripping fungus and slime. Our team now remains within close proximity of the camp after these incidents, although little good it has done us. Another group today was stricken by spores that they inhaled and choked upon within a stand of tall fungal trees. As the men were helpless, a swarm of enormous ants fell upon them and sliced them apart before other soldiers could aid their comrades. Though death seems to await us at any moment in this accursed jungle, we have discovered that it also holds great wealth and hides many secrets. There are many catacombs beneath the fungal trees, twisting deep into the unstable rock floor of the vast caverns of the Underlands. Much of the rock is igneous, with old lava channels creating tunnels that pass into sections of limestone where the sea must have deposited coral and sand when it was at a much higher level in ages past. The limestone and igneous rock is extremely porous, and the constant mist and rains here, as well as corrosive fluid from the fungus, eats away into the stone to create the catacombs, many of which hold valuable crystals, minerals, and even veins of gold. The treasure is not unguarded, though, as the catacombs are infested by enormous monsters of nightmare, gigantic spiders and filthy vermin, as well as humanoids that are savage and cannibalistic. The worst of all of the creatures are the insectoid cloudchick, beings that appear to be highly adaptable to any environment, even in the deepest waters of the underground sea. This forest appears to be their natural home, but I am beginning to believe that they are simply some form of vile demon spawn. Much of our knowledge of the forest has come from a curious species of bird-like reptile we call troglodytes, creatures which are able to mimic different languages and can communicate with many of the different races here. Even the detestable cloudchick. Their only desire seems to be for gold, and they are perfectly willing to serve as guides and translators to broker the services of many of the more unsavory denizens of the forest. I have recommended to Captain Hawkins to avoid these mercenaries, as I found them devious and cowardly during our first expedition to the Underlands. But our numbers are dwindling, and the captain says we may soon need assistance.